Hey, are you ready for Bundesliga Matchday number 30? And do you want the best Bundesliga predictions and betting tips? Then let's go! Bayer Leverkusen is the champion, first time in their history, and behind them there are some decisions to make in the Champions League, in the European League spots, and in the relegation spots. We will see the best game on this game day between Bayer Leverkusen at Borussia Dortmund. But before this game on Sunday we have some other games. First of all, on Friday Frankfurt is hosting Augsburg, and we have a game between the 6th in the standings and the 7th in the standings. With both still need a lot of points to secure their international spot, but are they able to win this game? At least Frankfurt hasn't won a game for 4 game days now, and Augsburg seems to have the better form at the moment after beating Union Berlin. But the odds tell a different story, that our Frankfurt at home should win with odds of 2.0. What do you think? Can Frankfurt win this home game? For sure they can. I think in the home standings Frankfurt only lost 1 game. That's pretty tough for Augsburg, which has only 4 winnings away. But do you like these odds? I don't. That's why best thing I find here is to hope Augsburg will make at least a point. That they win is no option for this odd, and Frankfurt is too low to bet on as a winner. That's why I prefer a draw with odds of 3.75, but only with 1/3 of a unit to win 1 unit if there's a draw, and to only lose 1/3 of a unit if there's a winner. My standard result prediction on Friday evening: 1-1. On Saturday, Heidenheim is hosting Leipzig, and after beating Bayern Munich at home, why shouldn't Heidenheim also beat Leipzig? And that's why the odds on Leipzig with 1.44 are way too bad and too low. No matter that 70% of the people, including me, think that Leipzig should win this game on a regular day, but we also thought that Bayern Munich should win on a regular day at Heidenheim, and they didn't, as well as Stuttgart didn't win against Heidenheim before. So Heidenheim has a pretty good streak with 4 Bundesliga games in a row not losing. But to be honest, against a team like Leipzig, which has also 6 games in the Bundesliga in a row not losing, I think they will face their limit. But anyway, the odds are too bad to bet on Leipzig, and Heidenheim is too bad to bet on them. My result prediction is that Leipzig will win 3-1, because they know now how to not play against Heidenheim as Bayern Munich did, and they will make it better. Cologne versus Darmstadt are the 2 worst teams in the standings with 17 versus 18. But it seems that there's still a big difference between the pre-last spot of Cologne with odds of 1.5 and the last place of Darmstadt with way higher odds. And no matter how good Cologne might have been played against Bayern Munich, only losing 2-0 and collecting some very important 4 points recently against Bochum and Augsburg, it's still a game between 2 really bad teams, and I don't want to put money on low odds on a bad team like Cologne. But I also think they are still better than Darmstadt and should win this game. But it's not worth to risk money on kind of unpredictable teams like Cologne. I would say at the end I prefer a draw, because you get way higher odds for almost the same outcome and probability, but I won't put money on. That's the key in sports betting. Don't bet on any game, and you don't have to have a decision on any game. So that's why I often say frankly and honestly that I don't bet, and I don't see a clear winner to bet on, and I don't see value. So that's not because I don't have a clue or I don't know what to do. I just know what to do, and that is mostly not to bet. Maybe also in this game between Hoffenheim and Gladbach, why should we see a better team or a winner here with Hoffenheim, who has the lower odds of 2.1, playing at home? But as you see here, Hoffenheim is one of the worst home teams, only winning 4 out of 14 games at home. So Gladbach was able to only win 2 games away. Both teams are not likely to win games, even for Hoffenheim at home. Why should we risk our money to bet on them? And on the other hand, why should we risk our money to bet on Gladbach? And additionally, we get the highest odds for a draw, which might seem the most reasonable result in this game, where I predict 2-2. And at the end, we get 4.0 for this draw and have to bet only 1/4 of a unit to win 1 unit. Seems like a really, really good bet with a lot of value on in this draw, and I like. Another game between 2 really bad teams with Wolfsburg and Bochum. Both changed their coach recently, and it's the second game for the Bochum coach Heiko Butscher and the third game for Wolfsburg's new coach Ralf Hasenhüttl, who was former coach of Leipzig in the Bundesliga and Southampton in the Premier League. And all hopes in Wolfsburg are on him. And as you can see, there are only 2 points difference between Wolfsburg and Mainz, which is on a relegation spot. And number 16 can be relegated into the second league after the relegation games, and that's a situation Wolfsburg should be aware of. And also Bochum is between them, and both teams need the points. Wolfsburg for sure with a home advantage, as they were able to beat Werder Bremen away in their first game under Hasenhüttl. Now it's already their 4th game. Sorry, I said the 3rd, but anyway. And they were not able to beat Gladbach at home. And Gladbach is not the best away team, as we saw, so that is not really great situation for Wolfsburg. Seems not a lot of improvement under the new coach. That's why it's a horrible idea to bet on odds like 1.7. That doesn't mean that they can't win this game. I also would predict in a tipping game that Wolfsburg for sure with the lower odds is the favorite, has the better players at the end and the home advantage. So I would say it's 1-0 or 2-0 for Wolfsburg. But betting on such a low level team like Wolfsburg with a horrible streak and only 1 victory out of the last 14 games or so is really a really bad idea. Also, to back up a team like Bochum, forget about it. Same situation like in the other games. Best you can do is to bet on a draw, because the probability for a draw in such a game is also as high as a Wolfsburg win or as high as a Bochum win. But if you get really good odds for it, why shouldn't we put our money where we get a lot more money back? With Union Berlin versus Bayern Munich, we have 2 teams playing in the Champions League. Prior to this season, they qualified both for the Champions League. Bayern Munich as champion last year and Union Berlin as spot 4 Champions League, first time for them. Playing good games versus Real Madrid, only losing with 1 goal difference. And now facing another team which is in the Champions League semi-finals with Bayern Munich. But Union Berlin struggles and has still the danger of being relegated, only 3 points away from the relegation zone with Mainz. And I think the Bayern odds are way too high here. as Union Berlin has also lost their recent 2 games versus Augsburg and Leverkusen. Making a point versus Frankfurt is not comparable with Bayern Munich. That's why I think should be another clear win for Bayern, because they also need to collect some points to be before Stuttgart in the standings. And that's why Bayern Munich should win this game. Again, it's important for their psychology to keep the spirit up to the Champions League games against Real Madrid, facing them in April 30th, I think, of May 1st, around this date. That's why they should not make any bad games, like they did against Heidenheim and Dortmund before. And I think even if I regularly don't bet on odds like 1.7 on a 3-way winner, this Bayern odd is way too high, and I would bet on Bayern Munich. I think they will win this game clearly with 4-0. And why 0 goals of Union Berlin? As we've seen in 5 out of their last 6 games. That's a team that wants to be relegated, and a team which is not able to beat Bayern Munich in 99% of the situations. Disclaimer, sports betting is just pure random. On one single game you always can lose or win, but in the long run you should make better decisions, and it's not a good decision to bet on Union Berlin. They should have odds around 15 or something like that for a winner. They don't have, so this is really horrible. On the other hand, it's completely reasonable to put a same amount as you bet on every other bet on Bayern Munich, because they are one of the best teams in the Bundesliga, not only but also in Europe, as we see. And yeah, they had some trouble this season, but they still are great, which Union Berlin can't tell. And Bremen versus Stuttgart, the big opponent of Bayern Munich for spot 2, and the third team or one of the 4 or even 5 teams going to the Champions League this season in Germany. So really great season of Stuttgart, which was number 16 last season and was playing against relegation. Now they are here and doing great. Why shouldn't they win another game versus Bremen? But different situation here. I won't put money on a team with odds of 1.6 playing away in a 3-way bet, because you always have the danger of a draw. You also have the danger of a draw in the Bayern Munich game, but not as much danger as you have here between Bremen playing at home and Stuttgart. And I tell you why, because Stuttgart away has 5 losses in this season, which is a bit too high, and that's why I won't accept these low odds. If the odds were around 2 or better, I would say okay, it's reasonable to bet on a team like Stuttgart with fair money. Fair money is always get double amount you bet. But it's not the case in this situation due to the bad odds. In a tipping game, I would say yes, Stuttgart can win this game closely. But to be honest, I don't care, because I don't put my money on it. And the best game of the day between Dortmund and Leverkusen. It's kind of surprising that Leverkusen is the underdog with higher odds of 2.7 here, as they haven't lost a game in this season, as we all know. Not in the Bundesliga, not in the Europe League. They are in the semi-finals. They are champion because Bayern Munich can't surpass them, and they also can win the cup this year. So Leverkusen, should win this game, as they did in almost every other game in this season, as we've seen. And Dortmund has lost 4 out of their 14 games at home. We find a lot of value here on Leverkusen, If it was a regular game, I would say 1.9 on Leverkusen is the better bet, because you get more money back as you get if you bet on Dortmund draw no bet, and the draw is insured. But after playing in the international competitions in the Europe League against West Ham and Dortmund against Atletico, I think they both are tired. On the other hand, Leverkusen is now champion. They don't need any points in this last games in the Bundesliga, so they are not 100% into winning this game, and that's why I won't necessarily bet on this draw no bet on Leverkusen and decide that a draw again is the best option, as we get way higher odds on a draw with the same probability on each side. With 3 options, you always have to imagine that you have 1/3 of probability on each outcome, no matter how strong you think the teams are. This varies from time to time, but you have 3 options and each option has a 33%. And if you get for a 33% chance only a double amount of money, it's a bet, or isn't it? And if you get almost 4 times the money or 3 times the money, I think this is way better. That's why I love draws, and that's why this is the best bet in this game. What do you think about this game? Do you also think that it's a draw, right 1 for Dortmund or 2 for Leverkusen, if you think there will be a winner in this game? And the last game we have on Sunday is Freiburg versus Mainz. Here we have the situation I expected in the Dortmund game, with same odds on both sides. And is this really the case that both are equal strong? That's just a fault in my eyes, as you can see obviously in the standings, as Freiburg is 8 spots advance of Mainz, and also Freiburg at home is really hard to beat. I know that Leipzig did it, but Bayern Munich, for example, wasn't able to beat Freiburg at home. Why should Mainz beat them? So we have still the 3rd weakest team in the league, no matter that Mainz was able to collect very important points for them. But you have also to watch against who they made their points mostly. Not the best teams in the league, and that's why Freiburg at home should strike back, and for sure is not equal to Mainz. They are better than Mainz, and that's why I prefer draw no bet on Freiburg in this game. I think they might win this game with 2-1, and they also need points to go through the international spots, and their coach Christian Streich is ending his career at Freiburg after 10 or more years, and it's his pre-last home game. That's why I think Freiburg will show their best football again and beat Mainz, and we get good odds for that. So I like this bet and I like this game day. I'm very curious what happens in this game day, and especially between Leverkusen and Dortmund. Thanks for watching and see you next time.